Good afternoon, little corkboards. Good time zone and warm greetings to you wherever you are in the world. This is Amelia, aka Spaced Out Puffin, and we are... fighting our way through Arc 2, which is a lot. But through these trying times, I thought that we should remind ourselves of our gospel, our very reason for being here, which has been from day one. Say it after me, guys. Xie Lian. No. Yeah, so anyway, a lot of things happened last time. Yeah, so we started off with watching Xie Lian as he is watching the situation gradually worsening. And it gets to the point where he can no longer just keep watching. And because Xie Lian is who Xie Lian is, he ends up descending to the mortal realm, by which he hopes to minimize the conflict, because casualties and violence is already happening, and that's the vague goal he descends with. And then once he is there, he learns even more details about this whole situation, learns that it is even more complex than he already thought, and then ends up joining the war effort as XIANLE's darling weapon of mass destruction. So, to summarize chapter 34 and onward, Xie Lian is desperate, and he is making choices for the sake of making choices because to Xie Lian, inaction is the greater evil. But with the alternative he has ended up with, I wonder if even here, the self-sacrificing sort of tendency that is in his character is showing again, rearing its ugly head in the fashion of, if the killing has to happen, isn't it better that I do it? Wouldn't it be better if it was done by me and not by my people? And this part, I think, is where Xie Lian, for the first time, truly fails. Because no matter what the reason is, the killing of all these people is directly against the thesis of his character. I want to save the common people. The goal through which Xie Lian as a character is introduced to us in the prologue. And we've had a lot of discussions about this in my server and in the comments here on YouTube, because this whole situation has a lot of nuance, and it's fun to kind of explore that through these what-if scenarios and so on. But in my own analysis, this is what it burns down to. Of course, that is not how the XIANLE people sees this. They see it as Xie Lian descending to save the common people, to save them. However, Xie Lian also counts the XIANLE and the Yongin people as his people. So, but yes, the whole situation is very nuanced, and his choices might even seem reasonable. But I argue that all the choices that are being made here are done in desperation and in conflict of Xie Lian's two roles. Xie Lian as a god versus Xie Lian as the crown prince of XIANLE. Because as the crown prince, Xie Lian does feel called upon to help. Because not only is XIANLE, his people, they are his immediate family, they are the people he has known for all of his life. His 20-year-long life. And a little bit of a callback here to Main Yanqing, who is, he is terrible at saying things, even when he's right. Because this is definitely what I think he meant. But in this case, I think it's important to mention that Xie Lian hasn't really trained to be crown prince. It's been mentioned to us time and time again that Xie Lian's heart was in cultivation, in ascending. So he's never really taken time to be trained as the heir to the throne, which we know because him getting to sit in on the council of the king this time around seems to be very new to him. Like everything there seems to be a new experience to him. So he has no experience in this regard and also doesn't seem to have ever wanted to be the leader of a nation. And yet, when he sees his kingdom struggling like this, and he feels that whatever he's doing within his purview as a god is not helping, he decides to descend and do whatever he can. So Xie Lian, in the role as crown prince, is doing a duty that he has not been trained for. No one's taught him how to do this, nor has he ever actually been interested in it. Which, by the way, leads me to this little piece of sidetracking, because XIANLE is suffering a lot of things right now. The drought and water shortage, the civil conflict, possibly outside intervention, and other political things that we don't actually know much about. It's just been alluded to, sort of. But Xie Lian, having been the one heir, seemingly the only child of the current king, who's ascended and been gone for, 3 years, wouldn't having an heirless king also make the king's position even more vulnerable? Because politically, unless he were to have another heir, the seat of heir could be up for grabs for anyone in the king's family, presumably a cousin or something. So I just wanted to point that out as well. Xie Lian ascending might have made his father's position as ruler even more shakeable. Okay, so what about Xie Lian as a god? Well, we know from the get-go that he's already struggling with the restraints that are put upon him by the institution of heaven. He doesn't agree with older rules, he wishes things could be done differently. He's not doing well with the socializing and networking part that everyone else seems to have pat down, and no one is teaching him. Like, we know he's met with John Woo, but we don't really know what those meetings are like. It doesn't really seem like he's been mentoring him for anything. And it's been implied that Mei Nianqing was supposed to tell him things that he didn't tell him. Or at least was the one person who could have told him these things. So Xie Lian is already struggling with his whole god thing. And then he descends, but he is still a god. And by still being a god who takes to the battlefield, gods, mortals, ants, the whole thing comes full circle. The whole situation is an ironic echo of Sun Long during the Banyu arc, talking about how two gods, humans are, but ants. Little insects that are disposable. Like, yes, Xie Lian's intent in all of this is very different from what Pei Shou was doing, but at the same time... yeah, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but to quote Prince Xiaojing, "How are they different?" Qirong countered. "Aren't they all people? Isn't killing the same thing either way?" It was like he had stabbed Xie Lian right where it hurt, and a burst of anger roiled up. Can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe Qirong is right on this one, Xie Lian. Because yes, with our historical and modern arguments, we could say that not every murder is equal, but a life is a life. And as long as Xie Lian in this situation is a god above these mortals, what he is doing here is an abuse of his power, and I think he knows it as well. Which is why these words anger him. Just a couple of pages earlier, there's this mirroring of Xie Lian to Lang Ying and their mutual determination not to be stopped, short of his own death. As the chapter's second paragraph starts with, "Yet cornered people often possess the courage to court ruin and fight a losing battle." And perhaps this goes for Xie Lian as well. And I understand the deterioration of Xie Lian's goals here, because this whole conflict is a classic example of a wicked problem, which is a term that can be used for conflicts like this, as well as other social issues. It is complex, it is difficult to define due to its ever-changing nature, and every problem is usually a symptom of other problems, underlying problems. A problem like this has no one solution, and no solution that is either right or wrong. They're just good or bad solutions, and you cannot know if they are before you've tried the solution. Everything that we learn in chapter 34 and 35 helps to add to the complexity of this problem. Through Xie Lian's perspective, after he descends and meets with his parents and walks around the capital, we learn more about the situation at whole, such as the revolt and the protests done by these merchants and the upper class because of the assault that was done towards the daughter of one of these merchant families, apparently by a young man who was hoping to forcibly marry her so that he wouldn't be thrown out of the capital. Muqing gives us a lot of context about her, and Fengshen seems to be pretty impressed with her, so I've given her a note for now in case she pops up later on in this arc. And I'm gonna put her somewhere next to them so that I'll remember where to find her. And Xie Lian's mother also hints to there being other factors behind the scene that we're not familiar with yet. Like through this kind of ominous, they're his people too, about the young people. Do you really think we're the ones bullying them? And after that battle, Muqing, Fengshen and Xie Lian all kind of suspect that the Yong'an rebels are receiving aid from somewhere. Reinforcements. And in the court of the king, the government is constantly threading this balance of wanting to be rid of the problem, but also not appearing as a tyrannical state. Not wanting to give any enemies of XIANLE, any neighboring countries, any incentive to come and stir up the problem and conflict even more for their own gain. All this in addition to the implication that the officials at court, as well as the various factions, are just saying that they're, trying to help the people, but might in fact be doing things for their own gain. And then, to top it all off, we meet with Long Ying, who admits that there's nothing he wants anymore. What he wants is for XIANLE to cease existing. And if there is no solution to the leader of the Yong'an people, or to more of the Yong'an people who are here fighting this battle, that really contributes to the wickedness of this problem. It's a mess. And I'm impressed. Like, the writer has truly managed to convince me of the complexity of the situation, and when trying to discuss possible solutions, we're constantly hitting wall after wall after wall. And I love that. The situation feels very natural to me. And it doesn't feel like something that has happened within the last 3 years. It feels like a situation that has roots in issues that's been going on for ages in the kingdom of XIANLE. And that's kind of important because it makes XIANLE from the prologue seems, like a fairy tale sort of place, but it's really not. Like every other country, it is a nation where, like the king says, why hasn't there been any dynasty that hasn't faced corruption? It's not a utopia country, it is a country of people. So yeah, I quite enjoy how XIANLE, from the prologue, the fairy tale country, has become a very real country to us throughout this arc. And another thing I find so impressive is that through all of this, I think this arc really works with Xie Lian as our main character. Because we know Xie Lian in 800 years, we've spent so much time with him as readers that we've come to care for him already as a main character. And we get to see him face conflict, which, characters should face conflict. If not, they'll be very, very boring characters in very, very boring stories. But at the same time, it does not compromise the story and the development we have 800 years later, over in our present timeline, which is also a narrative in progress, which I think is about healing. Recognizing what has happened in the past and somehow consolidating that. Recognizing all these things and decisions that might have driven him to loneliness, and then recognizing that you're allowed to have companionship. So right now, in our current timeline, Xie Lian is doing a lot of healing. And another thing that does need healing is our XIANLE trio. Though from what exactly we're yet to discover, okay? Because we've had some great moments from them. Like, there were some moments in the last read where I was just like, my feelings, friendship, but I also wonder if we're not beginning to hint at some of the cracks. Let's start with mooching, because we always start with mooching. We actually had some great mooching discussions in the survey yesterday. Yes, this is a plug. If you're interested in somewhere that discusses the TGCF everything, characters, stories, whatever, sometimes an unhinged AE or two, I highly recommend my server. You're very welcome to join, link is in the description down below. So anyway, after Xie Lian visits Sky Daddy to let him know that I'll be descending now, Function and Mooching both eventually find him as he's, in an alley somewhere in the capital, walking around. And Mooching is very quick to ask, "You've decided to descend, why didn't you tell me first?" To which Function pretty quickly says, well, he's in charge, he can do what he likes. And I think they are both right. Xie Lian should have talked to them both first. And throughout the volume so far, he usually has consulted people about things. And it's not like he was very pressed for time, he definitely could have called on them to let them know what was going to happen. So personally, I think him not letting them know ahead of time this time around has a lot to do with him being in his own head and his desperation really showing. However, I wonder if Xie Lian will now, as this keeps going, start telling them less and less things, which is probably not good. But while Mooching is correct in that, yes, their futures are kind of tied to him and his decisions, it's only for as long as they choose to be there. And they do. They are with him in the capital city streets, watching the protests. They're with him on top of the city walls, and they are with him on that battlefield. Up on the wall after the battle, Function was still worried. "Can you really keep this up?" Xie Lian patted his shoulder. "Don't worry, I have 8,000 temples. There are plenty of devotees, so I'm fine, of course, but..." His other arm circled around Mooching's shoulders, and Xie Lian sighed. "Thank goodness you two helped today. Thank you for staying by my side." That day, on the battlefield, his two subordinates suffered much more than he did. They were absolutely covered in blood and grime from all the killing. "There's no need to say such things," Function said, and Mooching gave a non-committal grunt. Xie Lian squeezed the other two close and said earnestly, "Not just for today, but for always. Thank you both so much. I hope the sight of the three of us standing tall and fighting together will inspire a story for the ages." A moment later, Function burst out laughing, while Mooching said incredulously, "How do you always say things with such shameless confidence? Really?" He shook his head. "Never mind." Xie Lian's lips finally curled up. Like, this is, if this was animated already, like, there would be kind of hopeful music playing in the background of this part of their conversation. But yes, this conversation is kind of important to me because it also shows that, yes, they are here, they're going through all of this shit, but they are choosing to be here. Function, yes, he has this undying loyalty that he seems to be following anyway, but Mooching as well, he is here and he is choosing to be here, and I think that's kind of important to remember. The only thing making me more emotional in a positive sense in these chapters, other than the XIANLE trio, is Honghong'er, because he is here, and he is everything. Actually, I am positively surprised by how often he is appearing in the story and how closely related he is to everything that is happening, because he was always there, even if Xie Lian can't recall it. And now he's a religious zealot in the army of God. But like, that's just part of the recipe. This is how you make this man. the perfect man for Xie Lian. So we have little soldier boy Honghong'er, this vicious gremlin out on the battlefield. And Function recognizes him, which I thought was a fun change up from Mooching recognizing him when he was a grimy little street rat. And now Function gets to be the one to recognize him because he remembers how reckless he was on the battlefield. He attempts to protect Xie Lian from Long Ying's arrow, and then runs with his mortal little legs all the way to Baju Hill to help Xie Lian, and ends up fighting Binu with him, which is a fun little callback to Volume 1, I guess. But like what in the unhinged kamikaze sort of behavior is this? He's gonna die for Xie Lian, isn't he? Oh my lord, I can't handle this. He's very cute though. He's very cute. And also, you'd be better suited to a saber, oh my god. Like with mooching, As a side note, Gibby turned this into another dick joke that made me laugh so hard that while I was trying to copy-paste it, I ended up deleting my entire reply to Gibby's comment and I had to rewrite it. And that's how the chapter ended, and it wasn't even the highlight of the chapter. You know what's coming next. So, Xie Lian follows Long Ying because he needs to rescue Qirong, who is hanging from a tree upside down. And yes, it's been commented to me that, that might have something to do with Qirong's thing about hanging people upside down in trees. Maybe. And he confronts Long Ying, wins, and is about to end his life when... Scrunch Scrunch, motherfuckers, it's me, Anastasia. Bai Wuxiang enters the story finally, personally, in person, along with the most the most fitting placement of a creepy art I've ever seen in a book. Oh, fucking hell. Good times all around. And like I said, my first impression of this imagery was like spider. Like you had all these vines going in all these different directions and he looked like a spider sitting in his web. And from what I'm learning, I wonder if that was not intentional. Like, is he in the back pulling these threads? Does he have some sort of connection to the young people receiving all this aid or reinforcements, you know? Just how long has he been in league with Long Ying, if that is indeed what we're seeing happening here? How much of everything can we trace back to Bai Wuxiang? But it doesn't last long. He laughs, slow claps, and disappears like it's some sort of magic show. So, Mei Yanqing is either insane or a really good actor. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my Mei Yanqing being Bai Wuxiang theory is kind of weakened by his actual appearance. I mean, I could be fooled. But you know, with Mei Yanqing still being on the council as well, like I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening right now. And I'm kind of sad about that because it would be so good. There are so many cool setups for Mei Yanqing being Bai Wuxiang. Such as, you know, the possible connection between Mei Yanqing and Zhenwu. Not to mention all the things that he's been saying that's kind of been, you know, jinxing the kingdom of XIANLE up until now. So we're just going to have to wait and see, huh? This discussion I feel is I feel like it's necessary to kind of show what I've been thinking about and kind of where my mind is at, so that you guys can also engage in discussions with me. But Lord, I feel like there's all this politicking is dragging on. I want some development. I wanna see my boys. I wanna see them strolling around on Baidu Hill. Like again, I just can't believe how many parts of the story that Honghong'er is a part of, and I adore that. I really do. I'm happy that he has things to do that's not just being, you know, that one kid who was saved by the crown prince that one time. And him being, you know, so close to the action all the time and having all these moments with Xie Lian, it really just helps to reinforce the idea that, yeah, all of this is a very, sore memory for Xie Lian, to the point where he might, in fact, have suppressed a lot of it through his trauma response, basically. Which is something we have been thinking and discussing a little while we were watching season 1 and maybe season 2 as well. Like, it's come up a lot, and I feel like it's coming up even more clearly now that we're actually seeing all of this happening in the arc. The second arc. This fucking arc, guys. Let's take a break from the arc by answering some questions from the Temple of Corkboards. which this week comes from the lovely Mercedes. Thank you so much for joining our betting pool this time around. And the question reads as follows. Hello Puffin, I had an idea and the council was able to quickly help me expand on it. Open on stream as per usual, so let's go. Oh, it seems to be two-parted, because I clicked part of the box and it only showed me a little bit, so I wanted to give you something light-hearted to think about this round. You're reading my mind, Mercedes, you're reading my mind. As Xie Lian is a stoat and Huatong is a fox, what animals do you think some of these characters might be and why? Feel free to do as many or few as you're inspired to do. I just love hearing your thoughts. Okay, so we have a whole list of characters. Shou Qingxuan, Mingyi, Lang Chencho. Lang Chencho's the little guy, the friend, I guess. Pei Ming, Ling Wen, John Wu, Rainmaster, Qi Rong, Blackwater. Am I supposed to press the next box? I'm pressing the next box. Bonus round character. Should I do the other characters and then do the bonus round ones? Okay, let's do the other ones first. Okay, I made my list. Again, I don't know all these characters that well, so it's a little bit hard for me to imagine what I would give them. I really like the semi-canonical Stout Xie Lian and Fox Huatong. I think the easiest one for me to place was Long Chencho, because I feel like I've already kind of seen him kind of portrayed this way. Like, we talk a lot about him being very, like, puppy-coded, but tiger. He's a little tiger. He's a little tiger cub, which makes for a really cute imagery of, like, state preceptor function. The Stout. Who's the teacher of this, you know, vicious little tiger cub who's just like a puppy around him. So Long Chencho, tiger, and his little guy can be a red panda or something. Something cute. Shou Qingxuan, I had to have a think for a bit. I ended up going with deer. I don't know why. I feel like maybe I should have made him a bird, because that would probably go more with the wind sort of thing. But I ended up making all the Lingwen and Pei Ming birds, and I wanted to have less birds on my list. I could probably have gone with birds. Oh, come on. Okay, so I went with deer for Shou Qingxuan, and then a hawk for Mingyi. You know what? I could have gone with like magpie or something for Shou Qingxuan as well, cause shiny things, right? Maybe I'll make them birds. I'll make them birds. I just thought Shou Qingxuan as a deer, being friends with Stout Xie Lian would be very cute as well. So Shou Qingxuan, deer or magpie. Mingyi, hawk. Mingyi gives me the vibe, just hunter, sort of. Even if they keep getting captured. Lingwen, a crane. Pei Ming, a peacock. As for John Wu, I ended up going with white tiger in the end. I was thinking dragon for a while, but also I kind of want to go with animals. And yeah, white tiger. White tiger it is. Or lion. Lion would work as well. Because he has that lion pauldron sort of thing. I think it's a lion anyway. Kinda, sorta. Looks more like a mythological creature. Rainmaster, ox. I have no reason, I'm just very not creative with this character because I don't know. I don't know yet. Like, I don't even have confirmation on Rainmaster being who I hope they are. They could also still be the ox person, in which case the ox, you know. So we'll see on that. But so for now, Rainmaster, ox. I struggled a lot with Qi Rong and Blackwater. Qi Rong can be a duck, because ducks are creatures. And kind of tasty. Blackwater, let's say koi fish. I have no way of letting you know how accurate that is to their personality. I'm just gonna say koi fish. And now for the bonus round, Scrunch Scrunch. It's by Wuxiang. Wei Wuxiang, I mean by Wuxiang. This is so fucking funny. So I keep mixing up the names for these characters, and we're kind of making it a sort of joke in the server. Alright, Bai Wuxiang. What would Bai Wuxiang be? Fucking snake. I don't know. No, this is too hard. Like I feel like I'm just now getting to know this character. I don't want to make an assumption about them just yet. But you know, with the curves and everything, like we're talking a creature. And like the mask, that's kind of like scaling, right? Like scales. So we're gonna go with snake for now. Snake for now. Though honestly, with the drama they're showing up with, I kind of want to say bird as well. Kind of like we could go with like the bird in Kung Fu Panda 2. That's a peacock though. I already gave the peacock to Pei Ming. But yes, Bai Wuxiang kind of giving bird vibes, honestly. I'll have a think about that one. What animal would you give Bai Wuxiang? Let me know in the comments down below, unless it's somehow spoilery. And that leaves us with mentions. So hold on a second, while I get the corkboard, the coffee board. And this is the first time I've tried to do mentions while sitting over here, so I'm trying to place it somewhere where I don't end up poking myself while putting the new pins in. So okay, let's do this. First up, Ouija. Ouija has been continuously super generous with me, and I noticed that their name tag is so small and so full of pins that I can't even see the name tag anymore. So I'm putting this up as a bigger name tag so that we can fit all the pins around it. And this is already a lot better. I can finally fit some more pins around your name, Ouija. So again, thank you so much for your continuous contributions. And I'm giving you a new pin right away, actually. Because I had new ones come in. I have like a lot of like full themed ones, and for your contributions, I am giving you this first full themed pin of mine, which is going to be a maple leaf. So now your name tag is a little bit Sunlong themed, which I think is a good vibe. Thank you so much for all your support and for enjoying these videos. I have a new follower joining the temple this time around. Welcome to Elida. Elida? Who knows at this point? I love learning names through internet magic. But welcome to the Temple of Corkboards. Your name is now up on the board. And I have a few more pins to give out. The first one is this flower, which goes to the lovely Kia. Thank you so much for coming back to support me yet again. And again, Kia. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. If you do want me to actually try to say your name correctly, you'll have to correct me. I am so sorry. A few hearts this week as well. The first one for the wonderful Mia Rose, who's definitely got the biggest heart collection of everyone right now. I try to exchange the hearts for cherry blossoms as I go along. Like if you have more than 5 hearts and I need more hearts, I usually exchange them for a cherry blossom. But right now I'm doing pretty okay on hearts, so you're gonna get to keep them for a little bit, Mia. And this heart is for Iwana. Thank you so much for coming back with another contribution. And lastly, a heart for Shady. And that is the Temple of Corkboards this time around. Thank you guys again so much for your contributions. If you want to contribute as well and get your name up on the board, as well as access to a preview video for my reading videos, the link will be down in the description for you. And that was it for today. And now for some terrible news for me and incredibly funny news for you. I actually planned on filming just this part right now, because I have a dinner appointment and then a small birthday celebration to attend. Which means that it's now 3 p.m. in the afternoon and I will be back this evening to do the actual reading. So like, great. I'm the only one who has to wait, because for you this is gonna be like in a few seconds. I'll be at it in a minute at the most, ready to find out what Prince Xie Lian and Honghong'er are gonna get up to on their little adventures out in the forests up on Baiji Hill. And I'm so curious. I'm so excited. Can we at least read the chapter title? I still have a few minutes before I have to go to the dinner. So let's do a peek so that you know that I'll be spending the next 2 or 3 hours thinking about this. Yeah, let's torture myself a little bit. I like some self-torture sometimes. I'm just very inspired by our main character at the moment. Chapter 37. Land of the Tender, body of gold hard pressed against the sire. What? Excuse you? The sire? I am very confused and slightly disturbed. Land of the Tender I've heard before. Wasn't that a brothel? Wasn't that like slang for brothel? Are we going to a brothel? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to handle this. But you know, it kind of makes sense because Xie Lian's cultivation is about not exceeding stuff, no excess of stuff, like excess of anger, and also this whole thing about, I'm guessing pleasure, I'm guessing desire is part of it. But we're on Baiti Hill. We're you know, with Honghong'er. So what the fuck is going on? Another thing I do know is that this chapter is like 40-ish pages. So this might not be like, we might actually be, you know, leaving the soldier, like going back to the capital, and some shit is gonna happen over there. Is what I'm thinking right now. So we might actually be taking Honghong'er back to the soldier camp, the walls of the city, whatever, and then leave on this new adventure. Because it's like literally exactly 40 pages. This chapter is so long. So yeah, Land of the Tender, body of gold hard pressed against desire. Body of gold. Hard pressed against desire, body of gold. Like a statue then. Gosh, I can't believe I've done this to myself. I'm really going to be torturing myself for the next 3 hours. Thank you guys for enjoying my pre-discussion. I will be back with chapter 37. See you soon. With the knife and everything. Can you stop assaulting these other dolls? Jeez, I'm away for 2 hours. 2 hours. Where's some nice pants? I know you have them. You usually have them. Oh my god. Can you just play nice? Okay. So a couple of hours later, one knife attack stopped. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Lyndon. You stay where I can see you, okay? I think he thinks he is the boss of this house, and he might be partially correct. I'm trying to assert myself where I can. But okay, yeah, I've been out being social, so I haven't really had that much time to think about what's gonna happen next, but chapter 37, guys. So yeah, I've been out being social, and I haven't had the time to think that much about the next chapter, but chapter 37, guys, it's gonna be a lot. And we are having a little bit of strong winds outside, so if you hear noises, I swear it's just the winds. I swear. I know we're in the spooky season, but it's just normal around here. So, in honor of Honghong'er being here, I'm using a Huacheng pen. This time with, he's wearing kind of a different outfit in this one, it seems. Less red, more other things. A promise of what's to come. I think he might even be holding Xie Lian's hands. Appropriate. So, since I'm not trusting this one with anything right now, someone can hold on to this for me. And I do have all my tallies ready. Again, I don't expect to have to use the Go-Go one at all. The Laugh or Cry one, maybe, though there hasn't been... Really? There hasn't been a single Laugh or Cry in volume 3 so far. But we're only 100 pages in. There could still be some. And I have been adding to the Ellipsy one. I've just been so distracted every time I'm supposed to update it on screen. Yeah, there's currently been like 7 Ellipsy replies from Xie Lian in all of volume 3 and 2 from others being Function and Mooching. I promise I'll try to actually pay attention to that. Oops. Well, honestly, I have nothing else to say. I already did all my discussions. No need to delay this any longer. Let's find out what a brothel has to do with any of this. We are reading chapter 37, Land of the Tender, body of gold hard pressed against desire. Why? The boy asked, taken aback. Xie Lian replayed the boy's strikes and moves in his head and casually showed him a few example maneuvers. You've never used a saber, right? You use a sword, but the sword is tricky. Although it's fast and extremely aggressive, its range is fairly limited. If you've never used a saber before, try it next time. I think you might be even stronger with it. If ever Xie Lian saw someone with notable skill in martial arts, he couldn't help but want to approach them and chat. Not to criticize, he really was just interested in exchanging ideas. I love that this is noted down, as in he noticed someone with notable skill in martial arts. Oh my lord. Oh, baby watchog. Another jade among the rocks. Just saying. Because he possessed a wealth of experience in combat, he often didn't even need to think. Just one glance and he could pick up on the particulars of someone's style. Even if he couldn't explain the why, he would instinctively understand. Out of respect for his status, people would usually listen, but there were very few who'd actually pay attention. But this boy listened intently, seeming to mull over every one of his words and looking down at the sword in his hand from time to time. Xie Lian had rambled on for a while, when suddenly more rustling noises were heard within the woods, like something had quickly crawled past. Oh no, ominous. Xie Lian instantly remembered that they were still in danger, and that it really wasn't a time or a place to get excited. He immediately grew serious again. Little distracted there, Xie Lian. That's alright. Who knows if there's more evil in this mountain? This place needs a thorough cleansing. That boy gave a hard nod and presented his iron sword to Xie Lian with both hands. Xie Lian shook his head. Just defend yourself. You didn't leave earlier, and now there's no way for you to flee. I'll do my best to protect you, but you must also stay alert. Just then, the bushes rustled, and something leapt out. Xie Lian flicked his wrist to shoot a blast from his palm and hit it dead on. A terrible yelp, and that thing stopped moving. There was a strong stench of blood, which puzzled Xie Lian. A beano hit by a blast would leak sticky, vicious body fluids, which didn't have such a strong bloody smell. He approached to check. Did he hit a human, Xie Lian? He parted the bushes, and sure enough, there was a large beano on the ground, blown into several pieces from the blast. But that smell didn't come from the beano itself. It came from something in its mouth. A scrap of skin of a human head with chunks of long hair still attached. Oh my lord. Beano were scavengers, and by the look of it, a human had been killed. The beano had left small drops of blood along its trail in the bushes, and Xie Lian immediately followed that trail. The young soldier tagging along right behind. The farther they walked, the denser the blood splatter and the stronger the stench. Soon they heard feeble weeping. I don't like this weeping in the woods. Oh no. The little soldier brandished his sword and ran in front of Xie Lian to shield him, but Xie Lian pulled the boy back behind him. The trail wound past a field of blooming shrubs, and a sizable cave appeared before them. This cave had probably once served as a temporary shelter for passerby, but now corpses carpeted the ground. Oops. Why though? Why are there corpses here? This is like where the youngin people are settled. And knowing that Bai Wuxiang is supposed to be a ghost, like, are we talking sacrifice? Are we talking human sacrifice? 20 or 30 beano were clambering over those dead bodies, chomping on them to their heart's content. Several of them surrounded a young woman. Her belly had been ripped open, and her innards were spilling out, but she was somehow still alive and clearly in great pain. There was a bright red flower in her hair, as if she'd been interrupted in the middle of dressing herself. The fresh blood complementing that crimson blossom painted a particularly cruel picture. Oh my lord. So if this is really like human sacrifice, sort of, in order for the ghost king to have more power or whatever, is this like part of what Lang Ying has agreed to? Because I don't see, I see the Yong'an refugees fighting to stay alive. I don't see them sacrificing their lives like this. I mean, I could be wrong. They really could be that desperate, but this is some next level creepy shit. But oh well, let's see where this goes. We're not saving this woman, are we? The Benu were licking at her hot, steaming organs. But just before they started to gnaw at her flesh in earnest, the sound of someone approaching made them turn to look. Xie Lian sent a blast from his palm without blinking, slaying them all in a flash. He immediately moved on to checking the dead bodies. Among the corpses were men and women, old and young, all dressed in clothes made of humble cloth, their faces ashen. They were doubtlessly Yongyan civilians. And Xie Lian couldn't help but be shocked. Same. He had thought the strange white-clothed creature had called forth these nefarious beings. He had saved Long Ying, so they had to be allies, like I said. But then why would the Benu feast on these Yong'an civilians? Inhuman creatures would never form a pact with humans unless they had a reason. So were these the terms Long Ying agreed to for the alliance? This is literally what I just said. Again, just writing the book as I'm going along. Were the lives of his followers his bargaining chips? The young woman was terrified and in agony. You know, Xie Lian, thinking about this right now makes me feel like I'm wrong about it, though. I don't know. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're right. We'll have to see. So, young woman terrified and in agony. Blood sputtered from her lips as she sobbed. "Don't kill me. I didn't do anything bad. Don't kill me." Xie Lian couldn't help but remember the family of 3 who had died below the city wall. What sins had they committed? He bent down and soothed her in a gentle voice. "Don't be scared. Everything's okay. I'm here to save you." Oh my god, Xie Lian. Yet that little soldier still had his sword pointed at the young woman. "Your Highness, be careful. She might be an evil spirit from the deep mountains." Of course, Xie Lian knew that was a possibility. Okay. But after much consideration, he still felt that he couldn't leave her like this. As long as he was prudent, it would probably be fine. He checked the young woman's pulse and inspected her palm and fingers for prints, instantly confirming that she was indeed human. That's a nice callback, by the way, to the Banyu arc, and one who had never practiced martial arts, as her arms were weak and powerless. Taking a bottle of medicine from his sleeves, he immediately began treating her wounds. He twisted the cork out, and a faint, fragrant white smoke slowly filled the air. This medicine could temporarily slow down any poison and was amazingly effective at treating wounds. Xie Lian wasn't stinging with that holy cure, using the entire bottle on her. "Do you feel better?" The young woman's wounds were a ghastly sight to behold, but after breathing in that smoke, some color returned to her face. She nodded weakly. Is this gonna be enough to save her, though? Her organs are literally spilling out of her gut. "Are you from Yong'an? How did this happen?" Xie Lian asked. Tears rolled down her face. I am. I don't know how it happened. She paused and hissed in pain. "Everything was fine, but suddenly my dad died. My older brother died too." Xie Lian gently patted her shoulders. "Who killed them? Or rather, what killed them?" The young woman sobbed. "The killer was you." At that last word, her face contorted with savage rage, and her eyes flashed and bulged. She opened her arms and pounced, seizing Xie Lian in an embrace. Is this what this is about? Like, again, the title with the Land of the Tender is like this woman. The young soldier had been standing beside Xie Lian on high alert the whole time, and he reacted with incredible quickness to this attack, immediately piercing her heart with his sword. Okay. She was already severely wounded, and with that strike, her death should have been swift. And yet, she began laughing in uproarious delight, clinging to Xie Lian with a deadly grip and refusing to let go. And she remained like that until she finally stopped breathing. Weird, but also, but what does this do? She clung on so tightly that the young soldier strained to peel her dead body off. "Your Highness, are you okay?" he asked anxiously. Xie Lian had thought that the young woman was trying to ambush him as a last-ditch effort, yet she had no weapons on her, and she didn't even bite or scratch. She only clung onto him tightly as if that was enough, unrelenting even after death. Confounded, he replied, "I'm all right, He trailed off when, as if mocking him, he was assaulted by a sudden dizziness. Poison? The little soldier widened his one bright eye. "Your Highness!" It was like Xie Lian's insides were on fire. He couldn't speak, didn't want to speak, and didn't want to hear anyone else speak either. He shook his head and raised his hand, mute. Just then, the sound of women's giggling came from all around them. Okay. I have an idea where this might be going, but I'm not sure if I'm enjoying the idea. The two of them realized with a start that there wasn't a third person nearby. The giggling came from the bright red flower. Xie Lian instantly realized he'd fallen into a trap. Land of the Tender, yeah, which is the euphemism for this land of the Tender wasn't a quite euphemism. Okay, I feel like this is the book clapping back at me. I've mentioned that, I'm just writing the book as I go so many times, and now the book is like literally talking back to me. Oh my lord. This land of the Tender wasn't the coy euphemism for houses of pleasure where men found solace in feminine charms. These land of the Tenders were flower yao. What the fuck is that? A flower yao that loved to flock together and survived by sucking away the essence of men. This sounds vaguely salacious, vaguely not rated E for everyone. Their fragrance were dangerous, and Xie Lian immediately cautioned, "Cover your mouth and nose, don't breathe in that flower's fragrance." The young soldier already had a layer of filter from the bandages wrapped around his face, so he didn't breathe in any of the scent. Hearing Xie Lian, he tightened his bandages, but then he realized Xie Lian had nothing to cover his own nose and mouth with. So he ripped a piece from the cleanest part of his sleeve, rubbed it hard and patted it down until it was cleaner, and then passed it to him with both hands. "Oh my god, you're so cute, Honghong'er, you're so cute." "No need," Xie Lian said. "It's too late." He'd been on his guard while he was treating that young woman, but he didn't guard against smell. He'd been close to her, not knowing that the flower pinned in her hair was a land of the tender blossom. Before she died, she clung on firmly to Xie Lian, ensuring she wouldn't fail in her mission. This meant that Xie Lian had already inhaled many lungful of that tender fragrance, truly refreshing his spirit. Is that supposed to be like an aphrodisiac? Like, is this... Excuse me? Is this like untagged sex pollen in my Danmei? It's more likely than you think. Yeah, because land of the tender, body of gold, hard pressed against desire. It's Xie Lian. Xie Lian is the body of gold, and that makes sense because desire is one of the things that he is supposed to be guarded against, right? Excessive anger, excessive desire. Okay. So, I don't know how to feel about this. So, what does this mean? Why are we doing this? Once the tender fragrance entered a man's body, he would enter a state of agitation. It began with weakness of the limbs, then progressed to mania. Xie Lian's whole body was already listless, like all of his tendons had been removed, but once the numbness passed, he'd be like a cask of explosives. If that strange white-clothed creature appeared once more, Xie Lian really didn't know whether he'd be able to face off with it. He wasn't sure of its power in the first place. His initial reaction was to reach for his bottle of medicine, but then he realized that he'd emptied it all to help the young woman. And in the end, she still didn't survive. In fact, she seemed in on this. He glanced at the dead body next to him. The young woman wore a happy smile, like she was sincerely glad she'd managed to snare the enemy in a trap before death, and she could finally pass in peace to join her family. Xie Lian could only blame the gory scene that paled the flower's dangerous shade, and the stench of blood that masked the blossom's strange fragrance. He had never imagined that the face of a young girl only in her teens could bear such vicious resentment, and that she could commit such an extreme act. Is this what this really is, though? Is it like actually these people willingly somehow sacrifice themselves for this cause? There could definitely be something like that to it, but oh my lord. Not sure how to feel about this at all. Around him, the flower Yao were exploding with excitement, and then there's like several people talking, so the flower Yao are like spirits then? Kind of like nymphs, I guess? So, the flower Yao were exploding with excitement. He took the bait! Caught him! It really is His Highness the Crown Prince! It's him! He's so handsome! My root can't hold back any longer. It's going to thrust out of the ground. What am I reading? What exactly am I reading? These, my root, like, are you a flower? Is that what you are? The young soldier slashed with his sword, clearing out the flower shrubs surrounding them. Oh yeah, the shrubs around them. So what exactly is the flower Yao? Is it like a tiny demon then? Yet the stems were nimble, and that sword was worn. After one slash, it dulled. The flower Yao rocked back and forth, squealing. Oh my gosh, this little Gaga, your bush hasn't even grown in yet. But you're so ferocious. I'm on the verge of blooming. So how will you repay me? What exactly? What? What is going on? This is not. I don't feel like this is the book I put down the last time I read. Okay, calm down. The young soldier's eye flashed with rage. You're dead! I'm gonna burn all of you to death! Please do, Hua Chang. Sing a little bit of that temple burning energy. The flower Yao curved their green leaves to touch their stems, like they were placing their hands on their hips. Okay, so they're actually like flowers, with like flowers and stems and such. Just given a little bit like Alice in Wonderland sort of thing. My, so scary. We didn't provoke you, so why are you so mad? Don't burn them, Xie Lian warned. They're Yao, so if you set them on fire, they'll emit poisonous gas. You can't pull them out either. The boy immediately dropped his hands that were ready to pluck, and Xie Lian explained weakly. There are poisonous thorns all over their stems. My gosh, your highness is so sweet. Thank you for protecting us, the flower Yao flirtatiously cooed. Oh my lord. Just wait, we're going to bear fruit soon. Bear fruit. We'll definitely take very good care of you. Is this seriously what this is? Are we about to get assaulted by flowers? And I don't know if that's like, are we like, excuse my reaction here. I'm just kind of shocked. I did not know that this is what I was going to be reading today. But like, are we talking flowers, or are they, like they're saying, we're going to bear fruit soon? Will they like become human, or like humanoid? If you know what I mean. Like, is that what we're going for here? Men who've cultivated abstinence from birth are so hard to come by, even if your power will drop a level if we deflower you? Oh my... Am I supposed to be reading this? Can I even read this on YouTube? What is going on? Even if your power will drop a level if we deflower you, there's no other way, sorry. As they giggled, the land of the tender's petals rubbed against each other. Their ambrosial, perverse intentions were more than obvious. That young soldier was bewildered. not quite understanding the meaning of abstinence, the flower or level. Yeah, because this is a child. He's like, what did we agree on? Like 13, 14? He looked 14, 15, but he's supposed to be like 13, 14. So between 13 and 15, like it's been months since the meeting at the shrine, so we can say a tentative 14. But he could still tell that they didn't mean anything good, so he kept swinging his sword madly, cutting down the flowers and roaring in rage, trying desperately to silence that teasing laughter, not wanting Xie Lian to hear. Xie Lian, on the other hand, was cracking his knuckles. So that was it. Everything that transpired tonight was designed specifically to deal with him. Oh my lord, of course. That makes sense. Yeah, because they kidnapped Qi to get Xie Lian to come out. And then this is the trap that's been laid out for him, like knowing that he would go and help, because that's Xie Lian, right? But the trap is all about these flowers, these demons, these sex pollen demons, whose goal is apparently to oh no, oh my god, Xie Lian, you've got to get out of here. Yeah, because they want to compromise Xie Lian's powers, because his cultivation depends on his abstinence, among other things. Oh my god. So yeah, in kidnapping Qi, they had a bet on his pride and duty as the martial god of XIANLE that he would choose to go after them alone, minimizing their risk. And that seriously wounded young woman was bait to make him use up his medicine, leaving him powerless to save himself. The cooperation between humans and Yao was meant to lead him to this point. Xie Lian's method of cultivation required a pure body. Those who worshipped the ascended cultivators who practiced this path were firmly convinced of the transcendence of gods untouched by earthly desires. If they couldn't protect their purity, their following would no doubt collapse and their powers would be devastated. It wouldn't be as serious as plunging from godhood back to mortality, and there was still the possibility of recovery after many years of cultivation, but with things as they were now, there was no time for him to sit behind closed doors and cultivate for years. Okay, that's kind of good to know then. I asked this question before. Like, what would happen if Xie Lian decides to fuck? Because that might be, you know, in the cards in the future somehow, somewhere. I don't know. I don't know why I think that. But yeah, so it says that, well, yeah, that would suck, but he could cultivate and regain his powers. So that's kind of good to know. Like, it's not the be-all and end-all. It's actually possible for him to regain his powers if that were to happen, which makes me yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Not now, because that would be absolutely terrible. And also, the situation right now is this is this is kind of an awkward read, to be honest, but it's okay. Honghong'er is there. He doesn't know what's going on, but he's gonna help. He's gonna protect. Don't worry, Xie Lian. He'll do his best. The statue of purity was strict at the Royal Holy Temple, and Xie Lian excelled. He was number one in upholding those rules, as he had never broken or breached any of them. He taught himself as steady as a boulder of iron, and not even howling gales could ripple the still water in his heart. Still water heart, that imagery is back. We've seen it stir though, but admittedly 800 years later. He'd undergone many trials and completed them perfectly each time. Yet, even if his heart was like still water, he was nonetheless young and thin-skinned. Not to mention, there was a little soldier right beside him. Xie Lian couldn't help feeling embarrassed as he was forced to listen to those flower Yao blatantly splash their depraved words onto him as that lingering fragrance boiled his blood. His face colored with a humiliated blush, but no matter how much he abhorred his current predicament, he just couldn't stand up. He was still hanging on for the moment, but if those land of the tenders really bore fruit, it would be big trouble. The best course of action would, of course, be to return to the imperial capital as soon as possible and have Function and Mooching shield him, but Xie Lian's legs were limp and he could barely stand. Out of options, he called to the little soldier in a strained tone. "You, come over here." At the sound of his voice, the young soldier visibly flinched and froze. He hesitantly turned around, but he didn't dare go over. Yet the situation at hand didn't allow for any time wasted. Seeing his hesitation, temper flared in Xie Lian's chest, but he forced it down. "Don't be scared. I won't do anything to you. Get over here, quick." At last, the boy moved. He rushed to Xie Lian's side, but came to an abrupt stop 2 steps away. Xie Lian soundlessly drew in a small breath and extended a hand toward him. "Help me up. Take me away." That young soldier very carefully took his hand and grasped it. He was like a man on the brink of death who had finally found someone to rely on. Xie Lian's whole body slackened in an instant and he collapsed onto the boy. He was awash in the tender fragrance. His temperature boiled and his body burned. Somehow, the boy's trembling hands were equally hot. Xie Lian leaned on him for a bit to regain some strength, then breathed in and pushed himself to stand upright. He didn't want to force someone smaller than him to support his person entirely, but with the boy's help, he walked a few agonizing steps. The flower Yao called out to him when they saw him moving away. "No, your highness, don't leave us. He is waiting for you on the road. If you leave here, you'll bump into him." Him? Him? He? Who's he? Xie Lian demanded. The land of the tenders were clearly terrified by just the mention of this mystery being. After some hesitation, they mumbled a response. "He is him." The flowers all nodded to each other. "He is him, the one who brought us here." Yeah, as predicted, as we thought. Even if they didn't dare speak the person's name, that half-crying, half-smiling mask immediately surfaced in Xie Lian's mind. "So what you're saying is if I leave now, the one who planted you will hunt me down on the road. But if I stay here, he won't come? Correct?" The flower Yao were pleased and chattered in the affirmative, nodding their heads. An unknown fury blazed in Xie Lian's chest. To trap him in this unspeakable situation without even having the decency to try to kill him. Were they playing with him or what? Why not simply battle to the death? That's a good question. And it would have been, more easily answerable to me if Ming Yanqing indeed is by Wu Xiang, because that would be like a teaching moment, but in a cruel way. If you know what I mean. But what's the deal with Bai Wuxiang? We don't know what the deal is with Bai Wuxiang, but I wish I understood it, because that's kind of what could have been the case. But to really understand, we need to know where is this coming from? Because if it came from Ming Yanqing, I could kind of reason my way into this. Yeah, I'm putting that on ice for now, but it's still a possibility, I suppose. Maybe I'm getting too hung up on it, but it's still a possibility. He collected himself and forced down his irritation. It seemed the other party had no intention of facing him head on. They only wanted to damage his spiritual power by making him fall from grace and lose devotees. Or the flower Yao could be lying. But even if that were the case, Xie Lian wasn't sure they'd be able to return safely, even if the boy could support him or carry him on his back. Should the other party purposely throw some women at them halfway down the road, the situation could get worse. Or at least become even more awkward. After some deliberation, Xie Lian exhaled a feverish breath and closed his eyes. "Take me to the cave over there." That young soldier followed his instructions and helped him cross the corpse-strewn ground. When they reached the cave mouth, Xie Lian gave a throaty gasp. "Stop!" The little soldier halted. Even a simple gesture like raising a hand had Xie Lian shaking uncontrollably. "Where's your sword?" The boy shifted him to his left arm and freed the right to brandish the sword. Xie Lian peeled back his sleeves and revealed part of his arm. Under the glowing moonlight, his skin was smooth and pale as the softest white jade. The boy's breath suddenly hitched. But Xie Lian didn't notice, oh my lord. Yeah, we know Xie Lian hasn't quite had his awakening yet at like age 817. Like it's coming. It's slowly revealing itself to him. But this could very well be Honghong'er's little baby gay realization. Oh, men. Just a little hint towards that. But oh my god, we're going into this cave together. You'd better not touch him, Xie Lian. There better not be anything like that. I'm gonna close the book. Stab me. I was trying to figure out where I was at, and then the first words I'm reading is like, stab me. Stab me, he ordered in a husky voice. I've read too much fanfiction for this. The hand that held up the worn sword immediately drooped. Don't worry, just stab me, Xie Lian urged him. Stab deeply. I need to draw an array. There are no other spiritual devices on hand, so we need blood. Your Highness, please use my blood, the young soldier protested, and he raised his own arm and cut without any hesitation. Oh my gosh, Honghong'er. No need, Xie Lian hurriedly replied. Your blood. But his words didn't make it in time. A deep gash had already been drawn on the boy's arm, and fresh blood flowed from it. Xie Lian sighed. Never mind. Xie Lian's blood was an invaluable holy treasure with the power to sanctify, so how could a mortal's blood compare? But seeing how earnest this little soldier was, he didn't have the heart to tell him that what he'd done was pointless. Thanks, he said instead. But we still need some of my blood as a catalyst. Xie Lian took the sword with trembling hands. It took him a few tries to successfully pierce the middle of his forearm. Vivid, red holy blood streamed down his pale white arm, and he used it to drip 2 curved lines in front of the cave, drawing 2 barriers. It could be said to be a waste of heaven's gift. Xie Lian also took care to mix in some of the boy's blood. As he completed the array, his dizziness grew stronger. Let's go in. Okay, so Honghong'er, you're so eager. You're too eager. Does the blood from Honghong'er even help here, Xie Lian? Like at all? Or did you just do it for show? Because you're so sweet. You didn't want to hurt his feelings. But yes, we're in the cave now. I'm very nervous about where this is going, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I've seen this trope so many times before, and I need this to not go where I think it's going. Like that little hint over there, like with Honghong'er kind of like realizing that, oh, well, that's pretty pale skin on a man. I might maybe have feelings about this. That's fine. But anything above this is a bit... Like, I guess we'll see. I'm just going to have to trust and go ahead and read, because people have been hyping up this chapter. People have been saying that they've been looking forward to me reading this chapter. And right now, I'm like, is it because you were looking forward to me feeling kind of uncomfortable reading this on screen? But like, it's been good so far, like this book. But I just have to trust, I guess. I have to trust that it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But I just had to say it out loud, like I have to get it out there. So, okay, let's do it. It was pitch black inside the cave. The boy took out a small flare torch from inside his robes and ignited it. The intense firelight brightened their surroundings. The young soldier's face was hidden behind these bandages that covered him completely, while Xie Lian's unkempt state was on display for all to see. His cold sweat was sticky, his hair was disheveled, his lips were red and swollen and smeared with blood from when he'd bitten his lips to sanctify his sword earlier. The firelight stabbed at Xie Lian's eyes, hurting them, and the waves of heat pouring off the torch tormented him. "Don't light the fire," Xie Lian demanded immediately. "Kill it!" That boy immediately threw the flare torch on the ground and stepped on it to extinguish it, and they sank into darkness once more. Once they were inside the cave, Xie Lian sat down and arranged himself into a meditative position. Moments later, he spoke, laboriously. I have a mission for you. Are you up for it? Ellipser reply. Thank you, Sanlang. I think this is our first Ellipser reply from Huachang, or rather from Honghong'er, but that's still kind of fun. The boy dropped to the ground and kneeled. I'm willing to risk my life to do my duty. Xie Lian painfully restrained his labored breathing and continued with forced calm. I drew 2 sets of barriers in front of the cave. The outer barrier is to ensure nothing outside enters. The inner barrier is to prevent anyone inside from exiting. He silently panted for a few breaths before he continued. There's enough space between the 2 barriers for 1 person. Stay there and watch over the cave entrance. No matter what you hear outside, do not leave. Likewise, do not come in, no matter what sound you hear from me. The boy was slightly perplexed. Your Highness, you're staying here by yourself? Yes, Xie Lian said. I don't know what I'll do. In any case, do not come in, no matter what happens. Under the circumstances, Xie Lian couldn't move very far. But as far as waiting for reinforcement, Tirong was probably still stumbling down the road, and just getting back to the imperial capital would take a long while. Who knew when help would come? The one thing he could do was temporarily seal off this small area, set up wards, and figure out a way to treat the tender fragrance. Fruit spawn or flower yao are powerful temptresses, he rasped. They're likely to ripen soon. Okay. Powerful temptresses, so these flowers bear fruit that become like, I'm guessing, humanoid then. And that's kind of where we're going now, right? An army of demon women, sort of, who are here to feast on your essence. Oh my god. Just then, the fragrance in the air suddenly surged, cutting off his words. That beguiling scent filled the air from the earth to the sky, and the flower yao cackled ecstatically. My root! My root is hot. Oh my god. My root is hot. The fruits have ripened, they trumpeted. Smelling that excessively sweet fragrance, Xie Lian could feel his heart beating faster, and blood rushed to his brain. He gritted his teeth. Hurry and go! Don't breathe in the scent, and if they come close, don't be scared. Nothing can cross the bloodline, but as long as your feet remain inside the barrier, you can strike them with your sword. That boy glanced outside and gave a hard nod. He rushed out with his sword in hand, stationing himself between the 2 bloodlines by the entrance. Outside the cave, in that field of corpses, the flowering plants were growing more and more vibrant in color. The briar field was quivering as if something beneath was about to burst from the ground, until, not long later, something did burst forth. The head of a woman. The woman's head that had sprouted breathed in the fresh air above ground and appeared drunk with joy, her eyes squeezing shut into crescent lines. Following immediately after was a round, smooth shoulder, then an entire arm. The fruits of the land of the tender were formed under the whiskers of their roots. They ripened in the shape of feminine forms, and the time was indeed ripe. Countless naked women were breaking out from beneath the earth. They plucked the bright red blossoms from atop their heads and bathed under the moonlight. Stretching out their limbs to their heart's content, those little flowers had emitted a fragrant scent at first, but now the ones secreting that sweet odor were the enchanting women. They patted off the mud that smeared their voluptuous... They patted off the mud that smeared their voluptuous bodies, fixed their hair, and walked toward the cave as they giggled alluringly. Your Highness, we're coming! I can't believe this is actually the scenario we're at. This is so serious, but this is... What in the anime? That sweet fragrance was suffocating inside the cave. Xie Lian sat in the lotus position with his eyes closed, chanting the Tao De Jing in his mind. However, it helped little. The flower Yao called to him shamelessly, chirping all sorts of too familiar pet names. Baby, sweetheart, Gaga, Titi. It was throwing his mind into turmoil, so Xie Lian tried reciting out loud. The 5 colors cause blindness, the 5 sounds cause deafness. Indulgent hunts cause madness, rare goods cause lawlessness. Calm over impatience, cold over heat. Silence is the ultimate virtue. Be kind to those who are kind, be kind to those who are unkind. Xie Lian didn't notice that his recitation was incoherent as he stumbled over the scripture he could usually recite flawlessly, backward and forward. Outside the cave, the flower Yao clapped and laughed tauntingly. My dear crown prince, my sweetheart, my good highness, you're not a monk. Why are you reciting sutras? I don't know how to say this. Is this like ayo? Ayo? Okay, maybe I should just have fun with this. This is so silly. These flower women are It's crazy. Shrieking erupted from all around. It sounded like although the young soldier had been silent all that time, he'd grown furious at the flower Yao and had begun chopping and slashing, madly chasing them away from the entrance as they wailed, "Murderer! You cursed little brat, destroyer of beauty!" Some accused from a distance. "No tenderness in your heart at all. Scary, scary, so brutal at such a young age. Imagine him fully grown." Yeah, imagine him fully grown. Like starving beasts, the flower Yao relentlessly tried to squeeze themselves into the cave, but they just couldn't manage it. They didn't notice the blood array on the ground and thought they were being blocked by the boy alone. After some discussion amongst themselves, they gathered not too far away and called to him. "Little Gaga, why must you stop us from going in? It's not like we're going to do anything bad. We just want to have a good time with His Highness. Be good, little soldier, and don't hinder us from doing His Highness some good too. That little Gigi is so mean. A shame that he's so young and tender. He probably doesn't even know what doing good means." Oh my gosh, leave my baby alone. Leave my baby alone, you crazy bitches. The flower Yao fell all over themselves in another round of mocking giggles. Xie Lian cracked his eyes open the slit, but he could see nothing aside from a black shadow standing at the entrance of the cave. It was the shadow of that boy, sword in hand, who was determined not to move, even in death. Yeah, this boy is, sorry ladies, he's a sword enthusiast too. Suddenly, one of the flower Yao said, "Hey, little Gaga, don't root yourself there like a stiff shaft. What do you want? Why not come with me over there to have some fun? What sort do you fancy? Am I your type?" Oh my lord. No, girl, you're not. The young soldier still didn't respond. Those flower Yao thought in order to enter the cave they must go through him, so they all brought forth all their tricks, coddling him with their words. "What about me? How about this? Am I pretty? Look at me, do you like this?" Starting with flirtation, changing to complaints, and then devolving into curses. Regardless of their tactics, the boys still ignored them, while they were far away and struck at them if they drew near. Xie Lian knew that before Land of the Tenders emerged from the ground, they could change their shapes at will. He wanted to warn the boy, but due to his distressing predicament, he didn't dare open his mouth. Change shape at will? Oh no. Is this going where I think it's going? Finally, when at last those heavy waves of heat passed, he managed to gasp, "Don't look at them!" It was exhausting enough simply fighting the hot blood that rushed to his head, so Xie Lian's voice was terribly soft and hushed, but that young soldier heard him instantly and called out in response, "Yes, sir! Your Highness, how are you?" "I'm fine," Xie Lian said. "If things become difficult to bear, shut your eyes, seal your nose and mouth." The young soldier hadn't had a chance to answer when another flower Yao suddenly burst out laughing. "I know! Little guy, I bet your favorite type must look like this!" It sounded as though a new Land of the Tender had emerged from the soil. A sudden dead silence descended outside the cave. That young soldier seemed to have stopped breathing. In the next second, the crashing waves of laughter from the Flower Yao surged against Xie Lian, drowning him. The Flower Yao clapped and screeched. Ayo, what a play, what a play! My god, how did you come up with this? You slay me! Look, that brat is completely stunned. I bet you figured him out. Oh my god, did they seriously? Did they do a man? Did they do like a... We're reading on. This must be it, and here I thought that damn brat was a rock. Oh no. But who knew how wrong we were? Such balls for somebody so young. Shit. Did they do, You win, we're nothing. How about it, little guy? Come quick and enjoy this sweet, delicious sight. Oh my fucking god. This is your chance. You won't find another shop that serves this dish if you leave this land of ours. If you don't seize this opportunity, you'll never get a taste, even if you dream of it for 800 years. Oh my fucking god. They totally did. This demon flower thing they totally shapeshift into Xie Lian. Oh my fucking god. Well, joke's on you. Joke's on you, flower demon. I might not have confirmation, but something about the volume 8 cover tells me that yeah, 800 years. He fucking did it, guys. He fucking did it. Oh my god. Or do you want us to give you a hand? What a state you're in. Oh my fucking god. I can't believe this is what I'm reading right now. I can't believe that this is what the book is serving me right now. The young soldier was thoroughly incensed and his voice was icy as frost. You are seeking death. That's fierce. That's great work. Great going, Honghong'er. Like, from this, what I'm reading is they seem to have caught him out a little bit, like he's a bit surprised and shocked, but he's furious about this. He is so mad about this. Meanwhile, Xie Lian was about to reach his limit inside the cave. His sight blurred and his ears pounded with rushing blood. He could no longer sit up straight. He collapsed forward and barely managed to keep himself off the ground with his hands. Taking that tumble loosened his gritted teeth, and in that moment of delirium, a pained, wretched moan escaped his lips. Xie Lian swiftly covered his mouth the moment the sound leaked, but the young soldier still whipped around. Your Highness! Supporting himself with one hand, Xie Lian used the other to cover his mouth. His breathing was labored and erratic, and his shoulders convulsed and trembled. Seeing him, listening to him, one would probably assume he was weeping. Never in his life, before or after Ascension, had Xie Lian experienced such a grueling ordeal. This was much more arduous than the toughest trial at the Royal Holy Temple. The strength of the arm that supported his weight failed, and his body keeled over to the side. As he lay on the ground, delirious and barely conscious, he saw the boy looking like he wanted to enter. Don't come in! Xie Lian barked. I said not to come in, no matter what you hear! The boy stopped in his tracks. Xie Lian laboriously flipped over onto his back and somehow managed to regulate his breathing despite the waves of heat that pulsed and spread throughout every inch of his body. The Flower Yao outside the cave heard him tossing and turning, and that intense fire consumed him, and they clapped as they cackled. My good Highness, why be so hard on yourself? Today you're refusing yourself a good time because you're scared of losing devotees. Tomorrow you'll be scared to do other things because you're scared of losing devotees. Is that any way for a heavenly official to live? You're more like a prisoner, with your hands bound by those who worship you. It's not worth it, being a god like that. You're gonna lose your place in heaven sooner or later, so why not just enjoy yourself now? Things come and go. No need to mind the petty details. Xie Lian briefly lost control of his temper, and the veins faintly bulged on his forehead. Shut up! He shouted, outraged. The Flower Yao naturally weren't afraid of him right now, and they started teasing the little soldier anew. Little Didi, don't you agree? Aren't you feeling miserable just standing there? His body was already miserably drenched in cold sweat. Exceedingly hot and bothered, Xie Lian violently tore at his robes in search of even a faint breath of cool air. As he tore, he suddenly noticed, had strength returned to his arms? Although that energy didn't last long, leaving just as quickly as it came, he confirmed that the numbness had indeed passed. His vigor was gradually increasing, and yet Xie Lian's heart sank. The tender fragrance inflicted numbness at first, followed by mania. Oh, mania, I see. He's gonna go crazy. He's gonna go out of his mind. That's probably worse. The numbness had passed, which meant that madness and passion would poison his veins at any moment. Although he'd drawn 2 barriers at the entrance of the cave, the interior one was made specifically to prevent his crazed self from charging out. But once mania seized him, he wasn't sure whether the barrier would really be enough to stop him. This moment of clarity was a rare blessing, and Xie Lian clung to it with both hands, his mind rapidly poring over ways to handle the situation. Suddenly, a realization occurred to him. The tender fragrance worked fast, and usually all control would be lost in the moment one's blood rushed to their brain. So how had he managed to stay afloat until now? Was the only reason really the exceptional steadiness of his mind? With that thought, Xie Lian drew a long breath and tilted his head. He called out to the boy silhouette at the cave's entrance, who was still looking indecisive about entering. "You, come in!" The young soldier looked like he wanted to dash over to his side immediately, but after a few steps he seemed to remember Xie Lian's furious instructions, "Don't come in no matter what you hear," and he hesitated. Xie Lian felt terrible for changing his mind so quickly, but he called to him again in misery. "Just come inside now." "What's the plan, Xie Lian?" "What's the plan?" The boy stopped hesitating and rushed in. The cave's interior was a long, narrow tunnel, warm and humid. Darkness shrouded the space. One couldn't even see their hand in front of their face. That boy used Xie Lian's rasping breaths to find where he lay. "Put down your sword. Put it on the ground," Xie Lian instructed. "Right next to me, not too far away." "Yes, sir." The young soldier heeded him and handed over his only defense, placing it where Xie Lian could easily reach. "Please, help me up," Xie Lian asked. The boy half knelt next to him and extended both arms to help support Xie Lian. However, when he reached out, he touched not fabric but feverish skin. I'll let it pass. It's okay. His hands immediately shrank back. Xie Lian himself felt burned by the boy's hot hands, and only then did he remember he'd torn off his upper robes in his manic state. "Then, Hua-chang, you got to touch his collarbones?" Yeah. A man naked from the waist up usually wasn't anything scandalous, though the current circumstances were slightly awkward. But there was no need to highlight their predicament. They just needed to do what they must. The boy seemed to realize it as well, and he didn't wait for Xie Lian to say anything. He simply reached out again to circle his arm around Xie Lian's bare shoulders, helping him up, and then immediately let go. Xie Lian leaned against the wall of the tunnel, and with his back pressed against the cool rock, he felt some relief. Noticing that the boy had backed a few steps away, he hurriedly said, "Wait, don't leave yet." That young soldier heeded his every word. He halted immediately. "Cut off a lock of my hair," Xie Lian said. "I need it for something." The boy acknowledged the order and reached out again. But the darkness made him clumsy, and with Xie Lian's long locks tied cleanly behind his back, his first contact wasn't with the man's hair. Instead, his fingers met with the skin of Xie Lian's chest. Skin that was soft and supple. Help. Skin that was soft and supple with a light mist of sweat. Xie Lian was already in torment from that touch when the boy accidentally brushed against something sensitive. It was like a bolt of lightning jolted through his chest. Oh my fucking god. Is this seriously where we're going? We need to not go there. This needs to go away in the next few lines. Pleasure spread through his whole body, forcing a soft moan from him. This is probably the limit of what I can put up on this channel, honestly. The pair in that cave instantly froze. The flower Yao outside the cave were desperately trying to listen in, so how could they miss it? They giggled. My gosh, what are they doing in there? So embarrassing, I dare not listen. Xie Lian gritted his teeth at the sound of them, mocking his suffering. You... Hearing Xie Lian's fury, the boy immediately dropped his hands, afraid to make any more contact. Obviously, Xie Lian wasn't furious at him. In his eyes, that little soldier was nothing more than a child. He softened his tone, thinking the boy was probably scared of offending him. Don't panic, just keep going, he said. Don't mind him. Yes, sir, the boy croaked. Still, he was clearly flustered. He felt up everywhere he shouldn't. It's a life and death situation, guys. It's a life and death situation. This was totally necessary. Oh my god. And every time he found that he touched the wrong place, his hand shrunk back. In the end, the only way he found Xie Lian's hair was to trace his hands up that bare chest, sparking unspeakable pleasure and agony in Xie Lian. Such misery. Xie Lian longed to smash his head against the tunnel wall and knock himself out for good. Finally, the boy felt his way to Xie Lian's throbbing Adam's apple and reached behind his neck to grasp a lock of hair. With only a few strands in his grip, he very carefully cut them with the sword. Your Highness, it's done, he cried immediately. Another small surge of strength returned to Xie Lian, and he raised his palm. Give me your hand. The boy obeyed, and Xie Lian retrieved the long thin strands and tied them to a knot on one of his fingers. Oh my god! Your Highness, what is this? The boy asked with a quavering voice, baffled. As am I, Honghong'er, as am I, Xie Lian sighed. The flower Yao's poison is about to enter the second stage. I need to borrow your sword. If anything wants to harm you later, raise this hand and it will protect you. Now, leave. A moment passed, and the young soldier returned to the entrance of the cave. The flower Yao grew rowdy again. You're out? Finally! Blocking us outside like that while you went to have your fun yourself. You're not very nice, kiddo. Meanwhile, Xie Lian could feel more strength surging through his limbs. He inhaled deeply and grabbed the young soldier's worn sword in his right hand. He composed himself, then raised the sword and made a cut on his left arm. Are you making more words? In a flash, it was like the fog had lifted, and his senses slowly returned. He knew it. Pain? Is pain like the anti-venom to this? Blood streamed down Xie Lian's left arm, but it was like he'd fully grasped a lifeline in the midst of this chaos. The fragrance of... we have art. We have art of Xie Lian tying the knot around Honghong'er's finger. Oh my god. The fucking thread, guys. I'm not over that. He's leaning against the wall in like state of undress, and then we have like the shapes of these demons in the background. And I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them, and well, I can't say for certain. This one seems to have less boob and more ponytail. Just saying. Okay. The fragrance of Land of the Tender could aggravate one's temper and arouse deep, slumbering urges. Typically, the stronger the repressed urge, the stronger the rebound after breathing in the fragrance. As for what Xie Lian had repressed, other than lust, it was the urge to kill. Huh? The urge to kill? This murderous bloodlust couldn't be directed at nefarious creatures. He had slain many such evils in the past, so he'd never repressed that desire. The target had to be human, or God, to inflict a sense of transgression. Before entering the cave, Xie Lian had cut himself to draw the erase, and so blood was spilled. It was somewhat effective against the tender fragrance, because injuring himself was also a form of inflicting harm. At the end of the day, lust and murder were both wildly aggressive desires. Xie Lian had even heard that some considered them to stem from the same origin, their nature one and the same. Using himself as evidence of this theory, there was indeed an alternative method to pass the current trial, which is apparently self-harm. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, that's yeah, we know that this is something Xie Lian struggles with. Oh my god, wow. This is not great. This is not great. Sure of his own reasoning, Xie Lian slashed another cut on his left arm without hesitation, and every cut brought more wisps of clarity to his mind. He was too busy rejoicing at this to realize that the tender fragrance was stirring more evil within his body. The instant his bloodlust was satiated, a wave of pleasure clashed over him. That sudden urge coursed through every inch of him from head to toe, effortlessly breaking the defensive walls he had painstakingly built. By the time Xie Lian had realized it, he was already quietly moaning, "Oh my lord." This is this is such a terrible situation here. If he wasn't alone in the cave, Xie Lian wouldn't be able to believe that sound came from his throat. He shuddered violently, and his eyes grew wide as he thought, "This method should have worked. Why would this happen?" He glanced at the sword and suddenly remembered. The young soldier had used it to cut the stems of the flowers, and to strike the humanoid flower. Yeah, oh my god, the blade was covered in the sap from the land of the tenders. He's just put that shit directly in his bloodstream. That makes sense. Oh no. Oh no. He used a fifth of his power to make the first cut on his arm, but he could only achieve the same relief if he used a third of his power to make the next cut. It was like drinking poison to quench his thirst. The madness must have gone to his head, as he otherwise surely would have noticed this. Xie Lian cursed himself internally, but as he'd already committed the act, he could only rip off a piece of his left sleeve to wipe madly at the sword, then tear off his right sleeve to stuff in his mouth, biting down on it maulishly and doing his best to restrain himself. The quiet moans were forcibly cut off by bitten lips and gritted teeth, but noises echoed within the caves. So every small sound was amplified and reverberated outward. The boy had heeded his instructions and covered his eyes, using only his sense of hearing to work, and in doing so his ears became more sensitive. There was no way he had missed hearing something strange. Unable to hold back any longer, the boy asked with a quavering voice, "Your Highness!" Wallowing in such an unspeakable state was the biggest humiliation of Xie Lian's life. He could hardly imagine what would happen should anyone see him like this. Even submerged in darkness, he could not tolerate the thought. "Don't come in!" he yelled. However, that piece of cloth was still stuffed in his mouth, and his command just sounded like muffled whimpering, exceedingly pitiful and wretched. The young soldier became even more anxious at the sound. Xie Lian's left arm was already bleeding profusely from that self-inflicted gash. But at the end of the day, it was only self-harm, not murder, and so the urge wasn't entirely fulfilled. His mouth slackened, and a piece of cloth fell from his lips. Xie Lian stabbed his left leg next, with increasing brutality. It was a deep stab, and the thick sound of the blade penetrating his flesh echoed through the cave. The young soldier couldn't stand back anymore and dropped his hands to rush toward him, but the sound of his hurried footsteps had Xie Lian scrambling away in terror. Even when his back was pressed against the wall, he continued to push backward, cowering. No, no, no! Don't come near me, don't! The second blood barrier by the entrance of the cave was drawn especially to stop Xie Lian, but it wouldn't stop that boy. He still had a chance to return to safety. The poison from the tender fragrance was about to enter the second stage, and if that boy approached, Xie Lian could end his life right then and there, giving him no chance to escape. He was terrified. He'd kill the child by accident. All he could do was avoid him. The young soldier heard the panic in his voice and called out in concern and confusion, "Your Highness!" The bloodlust was boiling in his veins. He raised the worn sword with his shuddering hand, and a voice inside his head screamed, "I will not die! I will not die! I will not die!" The next moment, in a split-second decision, he turned his blade. In the darkness, the young soldier could see the flash of cold metal, and he cried, "Your Highness!" The sword struck, penetrating Xie Lian's own stomach. He'd nailed himself firmly onto the ground. Well, there's been allusions to that. Fucking hell, Xie Lian, this is, You keep getting pinned to the ground. And I realize now that yes, I am very, very happy indeed that I never pinned him to anything. A sharp pain exploded from his abdomen, spreading throughout his whole body and dispersing the heat. Xie Lian's hands gripped the hilt tightly, and his eyes flashed. He choked out a cough, and a thin trail of blood flowed from the corner of his lips. His breathing stopped, and his body stilled. The young soldier was left in dumbfounded shock, and he fell to his knees next to his body. Screeching and shrieking began outside the cave. "Who are you?" The voices of the flower Yao were delicate but shrill, and their shrieks were piercing to the ear, and yet there was another who thundered louder, dominating all their cries. "Oh, help! Help has come. Please, please be help." "What the hell?" Hearing that angry roar, Xie Lian suddenly sucked in breath anew. Function. Yes. Yes, function. Thank you, thank you. "Land on the tender," another muffled voice said. "If you don't want to get poisoned, cover your face." That was Mu Cheng, of course, who clearly already had his face covered. Feng Shen seemed to have seen something and gave an angry, muffled shout through the suggested face covering. "Is that Your Highness?" Yeah, oh my fucking god, oh no. I was right about that one. "Is that Your Highness? Your Highness? Fuck, what the fuck? What's the meaning of this?" Mu Cheng let out an then commented, "What an indecent sight! How outrageous!" His tone didn't sound as angry as Feng Shen's, more like he was reacting to a bad joke. Xie Lian was still inside the cave and couldn't hear exactly what they were saying, but he could guess that those flower Yao were probably parading their naked selves before them and generally being highly inappropriate. Yeah, Xie Lian doesn't understand exactly what has happened, but we as readers understand what has happened. Feng Shen was cursing uproariously. "Hurry and get rid of them now! Don't let anyone else see this!" Soon, all he heard was the screaming and cursing of the female Yao, which gradually faded. "Make sure to exterminate them thoroughly," Mu Cheng lectured. "The scent from this type of Yao is poisonous, and if there are any leftover seedlings, they'll just come back." Xie Lian sucked in a breath, waited, and then coughed weakly once. The other two immediately heard him and charged to the cave, yelling. "Your Highness, are you in there?" "I'm here," Xie Lian replied. Even though he tried to steady his voice, it was still weaker than normal. The two of them rushed over, but were stopped by the barriers outside the cave's entrance. However, they were familiar with the rays drawn by Xie Lian and knew how to break them. Feng Shen ignited a palm torch as he walked in, but before the deepest part of the cave was illuminated, he suddenly called out, "Who's there?" Mu Cheng was alarmed as well. "Is there someone else in the cave?" "Don't worry, just a little soldier," Xie Lian said. The two calmed down and entered. The firelight brightened the entire cave with a warm orange glow and illuminated Xie Lian, who lay there, sprawled on the ground, his long hair strewn around him, his upper robes completely peeled off, and a long sword impaling his abdomen and nailing him to the ground. The two were horrified by the sight. Fengxian leaned down. "Who did this?" "Me," Xie Lian replied. Muqing was aghast. "What happened?" Xie Lian shook his head. "I don't want to talk about it. I only went this far because there was no other way. Hurry and free me." Muqing approached and pulled out the sword with a frown, tossing it to the side with a clang. The young soldier retrieved it. Fengxian helped Xie Lian sit up and covered him with an outer robe. Only then did Xie Lian finally give them a rough account of his ghastly night with the Land of the Tenders. "You two came faster than I expected. Where's Qirong?" "Qirong got locked up in the palace by the king," Fengxian said. "He's always so showy, so of course he was an easy target, but he knew to come find us as soon as he got back. So at least his head's clear enough for that." It seemed that as much as Qirong despised his two attendants, he still acknowledged how competent they were. That's good on you, Qirong. Good on you. Actually did as told this time around. The two had planned to have one stay behind and guard the city, but Qirong was screaming and howling and clutching a sword smeared in Xie Lian's blood, so they thought the danger might be greater than they expected and decided to come together. Baizhi Hill was still thick with the air of evil, so it wasn't hard to pinpoint their location and make their way there quickly. Although Xie Lian possessed an ascended body, normal blades could not hurt his cultivation foundation, and a jab like this wouldn't kill him. He had still never truly lost in a battle of life and death in his 20 years. This was the very first time he'd been so badly wounded, and he'd need time to recover. So Fengxian carried him on his back on their return to the imperial capital. An excruciating foreign pain from his stomach stabbed at him in waves, and Xie Lian furrowed his brow as he tried to restrain himself. "Did you two run into anything on your way here?" "No," Muqing replied. Xie Lian sucked in a breath and said, "Be careful. There are inhuman creatures about." He had wanted to tell them about that white-clothed creature, but he was thoroughly exhausted. Oh my god. So Xie Lian doesn't tell them. Like right now, Xie Lian is not going to tell them about Bai Wuxiang. Oh no, that's probably not great. From the corner of his eye, he could see the young soldier following behind with that bloody iron sword still in his hand. And the sight finally allowed him to relax. He closed his eyes and fell deeply asleep to restore his energy. He had capriciously descended into the mortal realm over 2 months ago, and ever since, Xie Lian had not once closed his eyes to rest. With the pressure on him building up day after day, this whole ordeal had finally crushed him. He was comatose for 3 full days. On the 3rd day, he woke up with a start and found himself staring at a glamorous, beautiful ceiling. He was in the palace, inside his bedchamber. He immediately sat up. "Fengxian!" Fengxian was just outside, testing his bow, and he entered when he heard the call. "Your Highness!" Xie Lian's stomach injury had long since healed, and he immediately rolled out of bed. "Was I out for a long time? Did anything happen?" "Relax," Fengxian said. "It was only a few days. There were no enemy attacks. If there had been, wouldn't I have woken you up? Go back to bed. You forgot your shoes again." You forgot your shoes again. That's so cute. Finally reassured, Xie Lian sat back down on the bed. After a pause, he asked, "Where's Muqing?" Just then, Muqing walked in too, with a set of prepared robes in his hands. "Here." He attended to dressing the crown prince. Fengxian spoke up beside them. "Even though there hasn't been a battle in the past few days, we did find something out." "Which is?" Xie Lian asked. "Didn't we say before that something is off with Yong'an? That they might have gotten reinforcements somehow?" Fengxian began. "We went to scout Baizhi Hill and saw several people that were dressed like our citizens, but who had strange accents. They didn't seem like they were from XIANLE. I captured them, and sure enough, there are other kingdoms supporting them from the shadows, secretly shipping them supplies and arms. With so many people of Yong'an crammed on that wild mountainous hill, there was no way they'd survived All this time on wild roots and weeds. Fengxian cussed. Fucking fakers. Pretending to be all friendly and then rubbing elbows with the enemy at a time like this. They're just happy for a chance to throw XIANLE into complete chaos. The kingdom of XIANLE possessed a vast territory with bountiful resources. Its wealth was abundant, its production of precious jewels plentiful. Nearby kingdoms had long watched them with envious eyes. Xie Lian had expected this and shook his head gravely. He recalled something else and asked, "Where's that boy?" "Which one?" Fengxian asked. "Oh, the little soldier? We were busy rushing you to the state preceptor that day, so no one paid him any mind. He probably went back to his troop." Now dressed, Xie Lian lowered his arms and sat down with poise on the bed. "That child was fairly skilled. I think he's got a lot of potential with the saber. If he's taught well, he'll be spectacular when he's older," he said. "Mooching, remember to find him for me once you get the chance. Get him settled somehow. He could be appointed." Xie Lian loved talented martial artists. He always just had to appoint them to his side, so he could watch them every day and soak in delight. This wasn't the first time he had made such comments, but it was the first time they were directed at a child. Mooching heard him make those compliments. Really good potential with the saber. Spectacular when he's older, and his expression turned unreadable. He scrunched up the hairband he'd just untied from Xie Lian's head, then turned around to throw it to the side. Not sure what to read from this, but he heard the saber comment. Are we a little jealous, Mooching? Are we a little jealous? Little rivalry? But so is this really gonna happen? Are we gonna get like this little soldier hanging around our trio now? Because Xie Lian wants to see him, excel, become better at martial arts. This is so cute. Why am I getting... I'm getting so much more XIANLE Quartet than I ever thought possible, actually. Arc 2 has been a blessing in that regard. And yes, he did indeed become spectacular once older, I suppose. Fengxian, on the other hand, remarked, "That brat only looked about 14 to 15, isn't that too young? What's he gonna do after being appointed?" In a flat voice, Mooching remarked upon the order as well. "I don't think it's proper. It'd be against military rules. A god can descend into the mortal realm. So what can military rules do to me?" Xie Lian said. Then continued his praise. "You two should have seen the way he killed those Binu. His stance was so good." Speaking of Binu, that strange white-clothed creature flashed in his mind. "Your Highness, why did Yao, like those Land of the Tender, appear on Baizhi Hill?" Fengxian asked. "That's never happened before." Xie Lian rose to his feet. "That's what I wanted to tell you two that day." "Are you... Please talk about the thing." Now that he finally had the time, he recounted his meeting. Yes, thank you, Xie Lian. Oh my lord, I had a bit of a scare there. I thought he was going to keep this to himself. Now that he finally had the time, he recounted his meeting with the one who wore the crying, smiling mask. The three of them talked it over, and for fear of dereliction of duty, they decided in the end that it was better to report it to the heavens. So Xie Lian left his bedchamber, met briefly with the king and queen, and hurried to the palace of divine might on Mount Taizang. In the past, Xie Lian would have gone straight to the heavenly capital directly to tell John Woo face to face, yet the circumstances had changed. He deserted the heavenly capital of his own volition, so that would be like asking for the keys back. Even if he wanted to return now, the doors would be locked. Furthermore, he'd left in such an upset and spoken with such friction in the Palace of Divine Might that he was a little embarrassed to face John Woo. Thus, with great reverence, he paid his respects with a few giant sticks of incense in the Palace of Divine Might and passed on the message to the divine statue of the Heavenly Emperor. Once John Woo was available, he would hear it. However, John Woo regularly received thousands upon thousands of incense respects, an overwhelming amount, with those of grand believers mixed in. Whether he would hear this particular message would depend entirely on chance. Are you seriously... Xie Lian? Did you... I know you're embarrassed, but seriously, did you just sent a message like that he might hear by chance? Are you for real? Was there no more certain way to send John Woo a message? Just asking. In which case, okay, but like seriously. Xie Lian didn't dare stay absent for too long, so he immediately returned to the battlefront to continue his watch over the city. Maybe it was because the damage inflicted in the first battle was too great, and their reinforcements had frequently been cut off by Fengxian and Muqing's covert sabotage. But Yong'an changed tactics. They didn't make another reckless charge. There were a few smaller battles over the next few months, but no grave losses. Compared to that first battles, those little bouts were nothing. That strange white-clothed creature didn't appear again either. The tension in the imperial capital of XIANLE dissipated with this relative peace. Xie Lian also found a rare chance to leave the front lines, and he strolled through the capital to relax a bit. He stepped onto a small stone bridge, stirring the long, thin branches of the weeping willow next to the bridge as he did. He watched the lively red koi fish swish their tails, feeling envious at the sight of them swimming so happily through the coursing waters below. He had been lost in thought for a while when he suddenly felt eyes staring at him from behind. When he turned his head, however, there was no one there. Although puzzling, he didn't sense any malicious or killing intent, so Xie Lian paid it no mind. Oh my lord, it's it. Please say it's Honghong'er. It's gotta be Honghong'er. Come on. Always watching. Always watching. In a nice way. Come on, guys. It's cute. It's cute. He's just making sure he's doing okay. This is totally not stalkerish at all. In which case, I am ignoring that fact. After crossing the bridge, he strolled along the grand avenue of divine might, and passerby on the road bowed to him excitedly or reverently or joyfully, greeting him as Your Highness. Xie Lian nodded and smiled, but after walking for a while, he felt that gaze on his back again. This time, he did pay it mind and whipped around without warning to catch the culprit in the act. Beneath a willow tree, he saw the flash of a figure dodging behind the trunk. Xie Lian strode forward and was about to seize that person when he realized with a start that it was the boy with his head wrapped in bandages. Oh my gosh, this is giving like hiding behind a tree after your crush catches you staring at them. Oh my god. Even with bandages wrapped all around his head, the boy still covered his face with his crossed arms, leaving only a bright eye peeking through his patched sleeves. Your Highness, I didn't mean to, he stammered. Xie Lian pointed at him. You're the one from that night. He trailed off as he recalled the exact details of what had transpired that night many months ago. Images filled his mind, and his face reddened at the memory and the extent of his discomposure. Feeling slightly awkward, he hurriedly cleared his throat. So it was you. I was going to look for you a while back, but with so much on my plate, I'd forgotten. Aren't you a soldier in the army? Why are you in the city? The boy was taken aback. I'm not in the army anymore, he replied, a little mopingly. Why? Why you're not in the army anymore? I mean, good, but also why? Huh, why not? Xie Lian asked, bewildered. Same. The boy was even more bewildered. I got kicked out. Your Highness, did you not know? What? Why did you get kicked out, Honghong'er? Did you spend too much time looking at His Highness? Were you distracted during your drills? Xie Lian was perplexed. No, what? He had clearly told Muqing that this child was a good sprout and that he should be settled and appointed. So why was he kicked out of the army after Xie Lian's specific directions? That boy looked both excited and happy. Oh my lord, he thought he was kicked out because Xie Lian was displeased with him? But why? What? So your Highness didn't know? I thought... Xie Lian was getting more and more curious. Come, tell me, why did you get kicked out? Who kicked you out? Why did you think I would know? Also, you thought what? The boy took a step toward him, but before he could speak, a loud, horrified scream rang out from the grand avenue of divine might. Insert scream. Xie Lian whipped his head around and saw a man running and stumbling in his direction, holding his face. Oh my god. Are we for real right now? I was having a moment. We were having a moment. We were having a moment. We were meeting Honghong'er again and talking to him, and now we're holding his face. A man in the capital holding his face. We know what's coming. We know what's coming. I'm not ready for this. I'm still digesting this fucking chapter. What a fucking chapter it was. I excuse my cursing, but oh my lord. I'm gonna need some more tea for this. Hold on. Guys, what the fuck? What even happened this chapter? So that was a wild ride. Let me try to summarize for just a second. So what happened in this chapter is Xie Lian falls into a trap. The entire thing, from the battle to the demons on the mountain to even the murdered people, was all about trapping Xie Lian and hopefully destroying his powers by exploiting one of his weaknesses, which is his cultivation, his pure body. Which in the case of this fantasy universe makes sense somehow, and of course we have these demon temptresses, these flowers who are apparently exist for this express reason, feeding off the essence of men. And that's all well and good. I guess that's allowed to exist. It's just it's really creepy, isn't it? Oh my lord. Basically, I kind of joked about it, but it really was a sex pollen scenario. A little bit freaky, I admit. But then when you actually think about it, it's just really fucking weird for two reasons. The first one being that someone planned this. Someone knows Xie Lian and apparently his cultivation stuff well enough to be able to plan something like this. And I guess maybe it's common knowledge that people who train at the Royal Cultivation Hall cultivate like this. Maybe that's common knowledge. But then there's the fact that their solution to, reaching their goal is it's literally sexual assault. If everything had gone to plan, the plan here was to have these flower demons deflower the prince against his will. Like, yes, it has this incredulous fantasy layer on top of it, but oh my fucking lord. This is some heavy shit. This was actually a pretty terrifying little chapter. Oh my lord. Yeah, for a while there I was a little bit scared, I have to admit. Like, I think they kept it vague enough for this to be like YouTube possible, I suppose. But yeah, still, this chapter, like, once you consider both the themes and the explicitness of the violence that we see in this chapter as well, I guess the book is finally starting to earn its rating, its 17+ rating. And Honghong'er is there as well. This teenager who I suppose was having a little bit of that moment of awakening. Like, he's been a flustered mess ever since he first got discovered by Xie Lian up on those city walls. But I think starting from, getting to be closer to Xie Lian too, that scene, that first time when he gets to see a little stretch of skin, like up to that part, it's completely normal kind of. Teenagers will and do have moments of, oh, why is this making me feel this kind of way? And while I'm a bit ambivalent about the whole accidentally touching absolutely everything while trying to find Xie Lian's hair in that one scene, like, the purpose was still to, we're in a life and death situation. It was treated as something awkward, and so I guess I was fine with that. Even the flower demons, as we're guessing, taking the form of Xie Lian, in order to trigger Honghong'er. Triggers mostly, it seems to me, shock and then rage. So while, you know, all of these situations are treated, you know, awkward, and there's like a sense of shame in a lot of what is happening, I'm still not sure if I fully am on board with all the accidental touching. Like, I think that this whole scene could manage to do what it's setting out to do without all of that. Like, it's not something I'm unable to overcome or anything, it's just I think I could have lived with a little bit less of that. Because look, what are you trying to do with this scene in regards to the characters? With Honghong'er, I think it's more straightforward, like you're trying to set up the fact that his devotion to his god is also perhaps on a personal level, and this is perhaps the spark that is igniting that for him. Like, this is the point from which a teenage Watong would start having to confront and explore his own feelings and his own sexuality. And you really established that already with just that one first look, the staring at Xie Lian's exposed beautiful jade skin or whatever. And like, yeah, sure, the one accidental brush would have been fine too, like trying to find that lock of hair in the dark, I suppose. But even without the repetitiveness of that action, you've already kind of established his shame of encountering these certain feelings within that one first hesitation. Like, it's already fine, it's already awkward, we didn't have to spend that much time rubbing up against him in the dark. Equally, what we're doing with Xie Lian's character in this whole scene is that we are once again facing a situation that is different from anything he's ever been in. He's never felt this degree of humiliation before. And we're also exploring the shame he feels of not being in control of his own body, as well as his own urges. Because as is being explained to us, once Xie Lian starts hacking away at himself, because that's another thing that happens, is that apparently this fragrance, this poison, is supposed to trigger the victim's most suppressed desires. And for Xie Lian, that's lust and bloodlust. Again, as far as I understood it. I can't wait to listen to this scene again. I wish I wouldn't listen to this scene again, but I will be listening to this scene again when I do my trimming, and hopefully I'll be able to take some more notes. But again, my point is, you get to establish Xie Lian's humiliation and shame without all that accidental touching. I think we could have tuned that down a little bit. But other than the just inherent weirdness of this whole scene, I don't know, what do you guys have to say for yourselves? You're looking forward to me reading this chapter? For what? For what? I want to know. Though, yes, we also established Honghong'er the soldier more in this story, the little soldier, as someone with great potential, which was really exciting to me there for a second, because I really thought we would be getting more XIANLE quartet, but instead we get a time skip. And Honghong'er is apparently not in the army anymore, and the way he is speaking makes it sound like he thought Xie Lian knew that he was not in the army anymore, as in, like, I feel like his impression is that he got kicked out because Xie Lian must have ordered him kicked out, when that is in fact the opposite of what happened. So what happened there? Mooching. Okay, so because both Fengxin and Mooching seem to be pretty against Xie Lian showing favor to this kid, to Xie Lian wanting to appoint him, get him settled so that he could grow, basically. Because that's what Xie Lian sees in this. He sees a young guy with a lot of potential. And, you know, 14, 15, he went to train at that the Royal Cultivation Hall at that time, right? Mooching also trained from that age-ish, and Fengxin was a bodyguard at 14. So it's not a unusual age, is what I'm trying to say in this context. So why are Fengxin and Mooching so against it? Like, they quote military law, but I'm struggling to make sense out of what's happened because my first guess is he was never appointed. He doesn't act as if he was ever appointed. So what exactly happened there? And the most likely reason for that to happen is if Fengxin or Muqing intervened. So again, I ask why. And like, I'm sorry, I'm so weird for this. I just think I can't help but think it's so cute that he's just stalking Xie Lian through the capital, trying to catch a glimpse of him. He just wants to look. He's got such a crush. He's got such a crush. And at this point, like, it's baby's first love. Like, let him have his crush. Let him have his celebrity crush. Like, I do not mind this teenager walking around with his big crush on His Highness the Crown Prince, because the text is being very explicit in the sense that Xie Lian sees him as a child. So it's all fine. Let the baby explore his sexual awakening. It's what teenagers do. And romantic awakening. And I'm just like, I'm not over the fact that he got so happy when he realized that Xie Lian wasn't aware that he was out of the army even. And then this guy runs into the streets of XIANLE to ruin mine and everyone's day, because that's the face disease. That's gotta be the human face disease. Oh my lord, he's clutching his face. He's clutching his face. And that's super distracting because I had a lot of other stuff to think about, and now I'm just thinking about the fact that it's coming, guys. The plague is at our doors. The next chapter is another 40 pages. Like I could stop here. I could stop here and say that this is it, because reading another chapter is probably going to take me another hour or so. Oh my lord, I can't just forge straight ahead like this. It's too much. It's too much. If I were to read another chapter, that would be like an 80-page read, which I've done before, but it took me forever. And also I've got work in the morning. I can't do this to myself. Could I do this to myself? I'm not gonna do this to myself. I have more self-preservation. I'm so sorry. But I did a page count, and there's 70 pages left of this arc. So if I prepared properly, I could do a 70-page read. When would I do it? I have no idea. But a 70-page read is not impossible. It's possible to do. Because this was a lot. Oh my lord, this was a lot. Like what a roller coaster. I was bouncing a bit back and forth there. Like, this did not feel like the book I had been reading for like the last 2.5 books. And at the same time, like, what is happening is, as I'm discussing with you guys, it's absolutely a part of the whole plot. And if Bai Wuxiang really did set all of this into motion, he knows a lot about Xie Lian, and he knows a lot about Xie Lian's weaknesses. Of course, thank the Lord, thank God, thank Xie Lian, they did not count Honghong'er into the equation. Seriously, how fucked would he have been if Honghong'er hadn't been there? Literally saved him. Literally saving grace, bringing that old rusty little sword of his. And I hate to say it, but Qirong did his part. Points to Qirong. I can't believe I've done this. I can't believe this happened. Why is this happening? So as you can hear, I am very conflicted about everything that's happened in this chapter. And I'm going to need some time to reconcile with that. Because again, like, I know that we are building up the secret foundations, the catacombs, I suppose, of what is eventually going to be a fully fledged Hualian relationship in 800 years, and having all these little moments and secrets like build up under it is it's part of it. It's a BL novel, guys. It's a danmei. And you know, your current love interest also being secretly the someone you met in your childhood. It's a super common trope. So in some sense, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this having happened, but would still tweak it a little bit for my own comfort. And because I'm so easily distracted by everything happening, the hair. The hair, guys! Oh my lord. The hair around Hua Cheng's finger, the thread around Hua Cheng's finger. about Xie Lian. It's about the hair that Xie Lian tied around his finger to protect him. Hua Cheng's design, his entire design is just about Xie Lian. The thread on his finger is Xie Lian's hair. The pearl in his hair is Xie Lian's pearl. The fact that his sword is a scimitar, a curved blade, is about Xie Lian. I don't know. I don't know how the butterflies are about Xie Lian, but I'm sure we can make them about Xie Lian somehow. And yes, okay, this is me deciding that I'm going to do my best this week to release this video and prepare to film the end of Arc 2. My goal is to film the last few chapters. I don't know how many chapters. I know there are 70 pages of Arc 2. And what I'm guessing right now, without having thought of it too much, is we're introducing the face disease. We're introducing the face disease, and then maybe some more about how this disease is gonna lead to the fall of Shanda. Judging by the fact that we did 40 pages on not going to a brothel, at this point I kind of wish we had. That means the next 70 pages, like there could be more scenes and issues that need part of those 70 pages. And I really don't know how much can happen in those 70 pages. We could be getting, you know, months going by in just a few descriptions and then the prince was cast out of heaven. Like, you know, kind of how we got the prince met the ghost on Yin Yang Bridge and then the prince went home and ascended in his sleep. Like, the book really throws a curveball at us sometimes. It can either spend 40 pages on one scene or compress like half a year of story into one paragraph. I would say place your bets, but I'm the only one in the running here. So we did get another ellipsis reply, this time from Honghong'er, which I think is the first one we're getting from Hua Cheng, which is kind of hilarious to me. A lot of guggas, but none of them were nice guggas, as in, you know, well, Hua Cheng needs to be Hua Cheng first. These fucking flower yao spirit demons, whatever you want to call them. And yes, after my initial awkwardness at, like, what kind of scene are we going into, I did have fun reading it. Like, this was such a roller coaster of a chapter that starts and ends with me just being very happy that Honghong'er is here. And while I threatened to close the book, like, at least a couple of times, we got through it. We got through it to the other end. And while I do have thoughts and have discussed some of those thoughts, I don't think there's been like irreversible damage to the story, and I think it really fits into the themes and the topics that we are exploring here. So with this chapter finally out of the way, I'm dying to know again why you guys were excited for me to read this, because there seems to be like a lot of possibilities here. And also, you guys might have different interpretations of what was going on here than I have at the moment. So I'm excited to hear from you, and I'm excited to read on so that I can put this story so far into a wider perspective. Mainly, I want to know more about our villain, and I want to know how he knew how to target Xie Lian's weaknesses so accurately. Because to me, that means familiarity. Either Bai Wuxiang really is someone with intimate knowledge about Xie Lian, or he could be collaborating with someone who has that intimate knowledge about Xie Lian. And there's the third option that Bai Wuxiang is Sherlock, actually. Maybe even like a mastermind tactician or something, spy master. Who knows? Who knows at this point? You know at this point. And it's starting to bother me. I really want to know. I really want to know. Stopping here is actually painful, guys, but it's for my best. It's for my own good, and it's for your own good. It's for our good. It's good. I'm gonna stop here, because it's already taken me 3 hours to get through this chapter and everything. Oh my lord. So let's take a break here, and hopefully the next time you see me, we will be finishing off the second arc of Heaven Official's Blessing. This has been Amelia, aka Spaced Out Puffin, and I will see you in the next one.